Donald Trump decides to literally bomb a town in Nigeria that has nothing to do with his proclamation of his illegal war. Let's get into it. All right, put it up. Here we go. I want you to look at the bloodshed that can come from such carnage. War is about two things: killing people and blowing things up. We call it war. Here's a statement from residents of that community.
Residents near a village targeted by U.S. airstrikes in northwestern Nigeria on Thursday night recounted the moment their village shook. They did not learn what had hit their quiet village until later, when news broke that what they had witnessed was a U.S. attack on an alleged Islamic State camp. We saw when something passed above like lightning, and we thought it was at the back of our village. We saw it, and then it dropped and burst into flames. So we started calling people from Kajiji to ask them what happened. They told us it happened between Jambo and Kagara towns. U.S. President Donald Trump announced late Thursday that he had authorized a strike against an ISIS camp in northwest Nigeria. The President said Jobo had never seen any attack by armed groups.
The first casualty of war is truth. That is the first casualty of war. Trump is doing everything he can do to escalate actual conflict, to deflect from his failed policies, both personal and presidential. So he gives you targets, hopes that you take the bait. On the other side of these targets are actual human beings, souls inside of human bodies. He proclaims lies in order to sell you a fairy tale. That's truly a nightmare. You know it. Even if there's someone watching this who voted for Trump and you were down with MAGA, I didn't hear you say bomb Nigeria. I never heard you say we must go to war with Nigeria. I did not hear you talk about colonization of other sovereign nations. I heard you talk about domestic control, local small government, staying out of the affairs of other countries. I heard you say that, but I did not hear you say this. Put up that picture again. It's a cowardly act and an illegal act. When President Trump launched a series of airstrikes in Nigeria, he described it as an attack against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians, end quote. He concluded, quote, "May God bless our military and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues." He made the announcement on Christmas Day. To anybody who celebrates the holiday, which by the way is a compound word that means holy day, but anyone who believes in the separation of church and state, for anyone who is an Orthodox Christian, this is a rare opportunity. If you happen to be an atheist, but you care about human beings, which makes you good in my camp all day, this is a rare opportunity. We are all in agreement. We're all in alignment. Innocent people should die. I would have believed in a cold day in hell before I thought Tucker Carlson would be a moral voice at a conservative rally. But it happened. That's how extreme this party has become. That the guy who used to define the extreme, used to define the polarity of extremism, is now the voice of reason inside of that same party. There's more. Put it up. So let's get into it. All right. The locals in the town that was hit during the strike say terrorism was never a problem for them. On Friday, CNN published a report based on interviews with multiple residents of Jabal, which was hit by a U.S. missile during Thursday's attack, which landed just feet away from the town's only hospital. The rural town of Jabal is part of Sokoto state in northwestern Nigeria, which the Trump administration and the Nigerian government said was hit during the strike. Both sides have said militants were killed during the attack, but have not specified their identities or the number of casualties. Kabir Aduma, a security analyst from Beacon Security and Intelligence in Abuja, told Al Jazeera that the likely targets are members of Lukura, a recently formed offshoot of ISIS, according to the analysis. But the Trump administration, their explanation is that their home is at the center, of a, quote, Christian genocide. Yes, Christian genocide. Left many residents confused, as CNN reported, while parts of the community face challenges with banditry, kidnappings, and attacks by armed groups, including the alleged terrorist organization, which Nigeria classifies as a terrorist organization due to suspected affiliation with Islamic State villagers. Says Jabal is not known for terrorist activity and that local Christians coexist peacefully in the Muslim majority. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back. I had the privilege of being invited to lecture in Egypt a couple of years ago. That's Africa. And what you will notice as you travel throughout the region is that the Christians and the Muslims live in peace. They're right there. You know them by their attire, sometimes by their greeting. But there is no conflict. There is no clicking against the other. There is absolutely no territorial dispute in these nations when they coexist in a peaceful manner because of the civilization that they have decided to have. Understand what the Trump administration has done. The Nigerian government literally fights that actual terrorist group that they have classified under their authority as a nation, as a terrorist organization. You have Trump, who has now decided to go against the government, who is against the terrorist organization, by unilaterally bombing that nation and defying the rules of sovereign government. There's more. Put it up. Bashar Issa Jabal, a lawmaker who represents the town and surrounding areas in Nigeria's parliament, described the village to CNN as a peaceful community that has, quote, no known history of ISIS, Lakurawa, or any other terrorist groups operating in the area, end quote. While the town is predominantly Muslim, Resident Kagara told reporters. We see Christians as our brother. We don't have religious conflicts. So we weren't expecting this. In, quote, Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous nation, with more than 237 million people, has a long history of violence between Christians and Muslims, with each making up about half of the population, 237 million. So it takes a lot of self-determination to live in peace, which these regions have done. And they have done so successfully for many years. Trump comes in, creates an artificial conflict, drops a real bomb, tries to sell it to America. Very similar approach to almost every war we've had with other nations. There's more. Put them up. Go ahead and put up the good senator here. But Nigerian officials have disputed claims by Republican leaders, including U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz out of Texas. Now, Ted Cruz, who claimed that the government is, quote, ignoring and even